Alright everybody, so today we are going to be learning the Pearson squares. The objectives of today's lesson is that you guys will be able to understand and use Pearson squares to balance a two-part feed ration. So what you guys are going to need is a notebook. Make sure you have a few pieces of paper in there that you can bring back to class. We're going to do a few practice problems and review them when we get back to class. You're going to need pencils to write with, a calculator because we're going to be doing like some simple math stuff, so make sure you have that on hand. You can use the calculator app on your phone or however you want to, nothing too complex. And then you're going to make sure you have about 20 to 30 minutes to go ahead and work on this lesson. So the reasons we do Pearson squares are to balance feed rations for animals. Two very important things that you're going to need to know to make a Pearson square is the percentage of protein that the animal requires, and then how much protein is in each feed stuff. So the percentage of protein that an animal will require depends on what breed the animal is, how old the animal is, the sex of the animal, what you're using it for. Like a beef cow versus a dairy cow have different protein needs and requirements. So go ahead and get started. We're going to draw a box here, like I've shown you. And we are going to put the requirement that the animal has for protein in the middle. So this animal needs a 15% requirement. So we're going to put that in the middle, and then we're going to draw some arrows. So one arrow starting at the top pointing down. Feed stuff that we're going to do is a supplement. And this has 47% crude protein. So put the 47 up there. And then the second feed stuff we are going to do is a grain mixture. And this has a 10% crude protein. So sometimes you'll see a 10 CP, and that just means crude protein. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. What we're going to be looking for right away when we're setting up our squares is the animal's nutrition protein requirement must be in between the two mixtures that two parts of the mixture that we have. So the grain mixture is under 15, and this one, the supplement, is above 15%. So we're good to go, ready to start working on our Pearson square. So the first step we're going to do is take our 47, subtract that by 15, and you will get 32. So you're going to follow the arrows and bring that 32 down here. Then we are going to go with our grain mixture of 10% and subtract 10 from 15, and you get a -5. Because we're working with like rational things where we need both mixtures in this, we are dealing with only whole numbers here, so we're going to make that a +5. You can just leave the whole thing out together. You can make it into an addition mark, whatever is going to make you learn this the best. So next we are going to add up our two parts of the ration to get a 37, and this is our total part. Total parts. So we have 5 parts of supplement and 32 parts of grain mixture. So the labels do not follow the arrows. The labels just go horizontally. So we have 32 parts grain and 5 parts supplement. All right. So taking our next step here, we want to take our 5 parts and our 32 parts and find out what percentage that is. So we're going to do that. We're going to take 5 from our supplement, and we are going to divide that by the total parts, 37. So 5 divided by 37 gets us, so that times 100 to get a percentage equals 13.5% of the ration is going to be a supplement. Then we take 32 for our grain, 32, make that a little bit easier to read, divided by 37 gets us 0.865 0.5, take that times 100 to get our percentage of 86.5% grain. Alright, so why the percentages are important? Some of the questions that I'll ask you later on just want the percentage of the grains. Some of them want you to use these percentages to get total pounds for feed. So let's just say we want to mix 1,000 pounds of feed. So we'll take 1,000 times 0.865 to get 865 pounds grain, and then you do the same for the supplement mixture. A good way to double check to make sure your math is right is to add up your percentages and make sure that equals 100%. Alright, so that was just kind of a rough way of getting through the problems. Now I want you to get out your sheet of paper, get your notebook ready. We are going to be reviewing this in class. We're going to do a practice problem here, so I'm going to give you the instructions for the problem, then I want you to go ahead and pause this video and work on it on your own, and then start the video up again when you have everything answered, and we will go through it together. So, for this mixture, we are going to do an animal that requires 14%. So go ahead, work on your boxes here. And you do not need to draw in the arrows, but it does help most people to follow through where they're going. So when you start off, I suggest doing the arrows for sure. And our 2 parts is going to be a supplement again. And this supplement is 45% crude protein, CP. And then we're going to do corn, which has a 10% crude protein. So go ahead, I want you to find the percentage of this mixture, and then I also want you to make a 100-pound mixture, which should be very similar to the percentage. Alright, so go ahead, pause the video, and work on what you can. Okay, so coming back from the video, we start off with our supplement mixture, and we made sure that this was more than 14% and it's on the top, and 10% is less than 14% and that's on the bottom. So that all checks out. So we're going to take 45, subtract that from 14, and we're going to get 31 parts. And then remember, we're going to take our corn, and the labels go horizontally. So we have 31 parts corn. Then we are going to take 10, subtract that by 14, and we get that -4, but we're only dealing with whole numbers, so make it positive, erase the negative, don't put it in there, whatever you need to do. So we get 4 parts supplement, and we add those two to get a total of 35 parts. If you do not have the correct answer right now, make sure you go back, pause the video, make sure you go back, see what you did wrong and see how you can do it better next time. If you did it right, good, and we'll keep moving on. So for our supplement mixture, we're going to take 4, we'll divide it by our total parts, 35, and we get 0.114, or the percentage that I asked for was 11.4%. Next, we're going to take our corn, which is 31, divided by 35 equals 0.886, or our percentage of 88.6%. Now I asked you guys for a 100-pound mixture. Why I did this is I just wanted to show you the correlation between the two. A 100-pound mixture is the exact same as the percentage, just because you take this times 100 to get your 100%. So if I would ask for a 200-pound mixture, or like let's say an 800-pound mixture, you would take, in this instance for the corn, 0.886 times 800, and that's how you'd get the mixture. But since we took it times 100%, the mixture for 100 pounds is the same as the percentage. All right, so using that same sheet of paper if you have room, if not, go ahead and grab another one, and we're going to need both of these for class the next time to review. We are going to do a word problem. So just went through, I want you to make a 900-pound feed ration for pigs that require a 16% protein in their diet. You already used the feedstuffs of barley, which has 12% crude protein, and soybean meal, or abbreviated SBM, with a 38% crude protein to make this ration. So go ahead, pause the video, and see how far you can go, and we'll check it out from there. Alright, so after you guys have had your own swing at this, we're going to go ahead and set it up. So for pigs, we're going to give them a 16% requirement. Making my arrows. Good. So soybean meal, abbreviated SBM for short, is going to be 38% crude protein in this mixture, and we have barley, which is 12% in this mixture. And then we make sure that we put our highest protein on top, lowest on the bottom, and we make sure that the percentage is in the middle of these two. It is, so we're good to move along. So we take 38 and we subtract 16, and we get 22 parts. (12 minus 16, and remember no negatives, so we get a 4. And 4 plus 22 equals 26 total parts. And if you guys are having a hard time understanding what numbers mean what, just make sure we're labeling everything, because that will help you to best understand it. So next we're going to move our labels horizontally, so we get 4 parts SBM for soybean meal and 22 parts barley. And just a reminder here, whenever you're mixing a feed ration, your highest protein percent is going to be your lowest amount in the feed. So just thinking about it rationally, if this were like a supplement mixture, we do not have more supplement in a mixture than we actually do of the grain. So the grains will always have a lower protein percent, but they will have more parts to them to make a balanced ration. So next, we are going to take, let me grab a different color here. We are going to take 4 and divide it by the total parts. So 4 divided by 26, and that will give us 0.15, and then we're going to round up to 4. And that equals to 15.4%. Then we're going to take 22, and we're going to divide that by 26. And we get 0.8, 4, and 6. And then if we just add those up in our head, like, yes, that matches up to 100%. So that gives us the percentage of 84.6%. All right, so how we're going to take the food that we wanted, the requirement of 900 pounds is what I asked for a mixture. So we're going to take 900, and we're going to take that times 0.154 for the soybean meal. So go ahead, type that into your calculators. 0.154, and we get 138.6 pounds SBM for soybean meal. Make sure you always have your labels on there. They will be wrong if you do not have your labels, because you need to be clear what we're talking about. Then we're going to go ahead and take 900 times 0.846, and we get 761.4 pounds barley. And yet again, if you'd like to check your work, just add those two up and make sure they add up to 900 pounds, which was our total requirement. Alright guys, so remember to bring in your notebooks with these 2 pieces of paper on them for credit tomorrow. See you guys later.